So I love journaling, and I have been journaling since I was a child. At that time, I called it a diary, and there was so much, for me, like a sense of like magic around having a diary, secrets, the whole mythology, and I guess even thinking archetypally or symbolically around secrets and diaries is still very interesting to me today as an adult, many years later. So I'm still on my, journaling journey. I keep a lot of different types of journals, and I really use them as powerful tools for self-exploration and kind of looking at myself and my life from a lot of different perspectives. And I've really gotten bored over the years with how a lot of people tend to approach journaling. And for me, it kind of just stops working, really, or it has stopped working, and then I kind of found ways to work around that, which I'm going to talk a little bit about today. But basically, I think that a lot of journaling kind of like stops working because, particularly for people who are introspective, who have done a lot of self-reflection and personal growth work, we get to a point where we kind of already know what we're going to say, like before we even start writing. So for me, what that means is that I kind of just end up writing like same old, same old. Like I'm not really unearthing or discovering anything like new or interesting. Right. And so sometimes it's that that direct self-reflection that really keeps us looping into like our same narratives, like we're kind of in the same space. And I think about it as kind of like we're just kind of like under the spell of habit, our habitual ways of like thinking about things. We haven't really gotten outside of that. And the way to do that, the way that I found to do that, and to really get at these kind of really interesting and surprising insights and ideas is when I access them indirectly. So not through trying harder to like analyze myself or, write nonstop for like 10 minutes or whatever, like about a very specific question. And a lot of my process really is very largely informed by improv, because improv is all about kind of getting on stage and not really having a specific like idea of what you're going to do or how things are going to look, and yet you get there anyway. There's a lot of spontaneity and things kind of come up, and it works, and it's a very magical experience. So I've taken a lot of those principles and those ideas, and if you're new to my channel, hello, welcome. I'm a registered associate marriage and family therapist. So I'm a trained therapist. I graduated from a drama therapy program, so I also bring that skill set and that way of working as well, and I've like combined them with improv, and I found that this process, this way of approaching journaling and self-exploration, is very potent and very powerful. So a lot of times that direct introspection that a lot of people do, like what would your ideal life look like in 5 years, and kind of like writing it doesn't really help tap into like the unexpected. But if we use like imagery and randomness and association, and we're not even necessarily thinking about 5 years from now, we can really start to bypass like our conscious filters. We can kind of start to bypass our usual ways of connecting to things, relationships, ways of thinking, and that can really generate a lot of surprise. And that creativity can also kind of reveal unexpected meanings, particularly if we're working with something that is, tapping into embodiment and imagery. It's so much vaster than like linear language, right? Language, if we're just writing on a page, it's like one word after another. It follows a very linear like sequencing. Whereas when we are kind of like breaking that apart and like pulling things and like expanding them in lots of different ways and using our bodies, I mean, we're just accessing different ways of thinking, right? So just a very basic example. If I just ask someone directly, how are you feeling today? They might give a very familiar, ho-hum answer. But if I ask them to connect 3 unrelated images, like maybe I'm using tarot cards, maybe I'm using Dixit cards, and build a story from that, and kind of play around with it in this like fictional realm, and then distill it back to making it personal. Like, where are you reflected? How is this about you? What part of this represents you? How is this relevant to your life? Then suddenly something surprising and emotionally true can emerge. That was not even, we were not even expecting that, right? So that's a little bit about how I approach journaling. If you, check out some of the videos on my YouTube channel, you can see how I integrate, tarot, game elements, lots of different types of ways of approaching self-exploration from different perspectives, and that to, like, again, essentially bypass like common ways of thinking about ourselves. So I'm actually going to be running a workshop around this process for folks who are curious about kind of these more creative and surprising ways of reflecting. So check out the description below for the link to sign up for that, and be sure to like my video and subscribe to my channel for more super creative ways for self-exploration and personal growth.